Hello, welcome in everyone. Let's get this show on the road. We have an amazing live stream today. We're going to be talking about a cosmic event that only happens once every 20 years to 200 years, depending on how you look at it. It's going to be an amazing time. We're heading into a very, very beautiful energy. This is Astrology Saturday with your host with the most, Chad the Maverick. I'm the in-house astrologer here at House of Intuition, breaking down all the things that are going on. As far as the astrology is concerned, every week, as well as a couple other things throughout the week that I sprinkle in order to interact with you all on the IG lives and to get questions answers, to pull some tarot. It's a good time over here. So outside of that, I just want to welcome you all in. This is going to be a week where there is a legitimate cosmic event, which is going to change and shift the course of the next 200 years, if not the next 20 years of your life. So be sure that you stay tuned for this. If you feel like someone else could use this information, be sure to send it over to them in order for them to know and figure out what's going on as well. But outside of that, I want to start getting into it slowly but surely. I do want to mention that I'm also a teacher here at House of Intuition. So I teach classes every Monday and Wednesday, but I need to recommend 2 classes for you, and that's if you're into astrology or not. And it's going to be the cosmic event, which is going to happen this Monday, which is this 12/21 great conjunction with Jupiter and Saturn, which I will allow you to know and point that out for you, right? And then at the second end, right, I'm also going to be the next week on Monday going over the full moon in Cancer, which is actually going to be the most potent full moon outside of the eclipses that we just had, the most potent full moon of the year, ending off this wild year of 2020. So I'm going to make sure that you all know what's going on with that. Here's the candle for it right here. This is the full moon in Cancer candle. We'll be going through the full moon in Cancer. And I'll be breaking down how it's going to be happening for the collective and also for your personal zodiac sign. So when it comes to my new moon classes, my cosmic event classes, everything along the lines of that, I'll break down all the information for the general public, and I also break down what's happening for your zodiac sign, for your sun, moon, and rising, and whatever else is relevant. So be sure to check that out. If you're into astrology or not, this is going to be putting you onto what this energy is going on and how you can best utilize it and harness it to bring in the things that you want, manifest more happiness, bring in more gratitude, etc. Someone said 12/21 is their birthday. What does that mean? First of all, it means happy birthday. Second of all, I'm going to be explaining this in this live stream, but I'm letting you know that this is a huge serendipitous event. You know when people say in like movies and stuff where it's like the stars aligned and then this happened? This is literally like that type of energy. Like this is why it's so critical. This is why it's so important. This is why I'm even having a whole entire class on it to break down the in-betweens. I also wrote a blog post because the 21st is happening on the winter solstice, but I'll be breaking that down in just a moment. There's a lot going on this week. It's a holiday season week. It's also a week of all this, like I said, this great conjunction, all this energy that's ending off 2020, which is super potent. If you've been following me since I first started to do these astrology Saturdays earlier on, and I think it was like July or August, I was mentioning that then because I was like, this is how process. So that's what that's going to be in regards to that. Sorry for the quick blip in there, but that's pretty much, like I said, the information and the vibe as far as that's concerned. So let's start to hop in a little bit into what's going on this week, right? So we have on the 21st, not only the Great Conjunction, but we also have this winter solstice, right? And the winter solstice is the most important day, or one of the most important days of the year for people that are magic practitioners everywhere. Someone asked if this is going to be saved. They're going to work and they'd like to hear what I have to say. Yes, this is going to be saved on IGTV. It's better to do it live because then I could... It's you in the vibe, but if you have to go do something, it is going to be on IGTV later, so that's going to be an option, but definitely recommend this. Someone said Yule. Yes, it is technically considered Yule, which is a holiday which is representative of the winter solstice, which later on kind of trickled down into being what's known as modern day Christmas. There's a couple of other like things as far as that is concerned, but it is very important to point out that it's like this is the vibe and the energy that's coming through with this great conjunction. So usually if this was a great conjunction at any other time, that would already be crazy. But the fact that it's on the winter solstice increases that tenfold, right? So we've been ending a very intense month. It's been a heavy month as far as it energetically, but it hasn't necessarily been like bad. It's still Sagittarius season, so there is a little bit of like optimism and hope and like future forward vision that's going to be going on. But what's happening is it's just like we're really shifting into all this heavy energy where the universe is kind of forcing everyone to expect to be more in their spirit than ever before. Just because of the times that we're in, because of the astrology going on, because of everything else. Yeah, 2021 is the best that you make it. Speaking of 2021, because someone asked about 2021, right? They said the 2021 candle that we have, and we also have a 2021 box as well. So in regards to these and what's going on with this information, we're going to be shifting into that 2021 space. Do not be afraid. Do not be worried about 2021. I got you all covered. I have a class as well coming up towards the end of the year where I literally go through the astrology of the entire year, pretty much breaking down what's going to be happening or what vibes are going to be happening every month. Depending, it doesn't matter your zodiac sign. I'm going to be letting you know the overarching view of 2021. 2021 is a brand new energy. I'm also writing something for this 2021 right now for the blogs with House of Intuition. That's basically saying how I believe that 2021 is pretty much the energy of the Fool card. So really stepping into a new beginning, a new balance. I like how I'm saying all this. People are putting down 11, 11, 1, 1, 1. A new beginning, a new balance, pushing out that energy, pushing out whatever it is to be prosperous next, and really going with the flow of what's going on in the universe, going with the flow of what your guides intend for you, going with the flow of what your aura naturally attracts to. That was what I believe that 2021 is going to be as we enter into it. We've seen how the world has pretty much fell in a lot of different senses. So what we're doing is that we're rebuilding a world. Also why this is so important, which is great conjunction, because Saturn, which is the planet that rules restrictions, and Jupiter, which is the planet that rules expansion, are meeting up with one another and kind of just like, it's like a big, like, that's why it's such a huge cosmic event. Mind you, if you've been in my classes, I also show the solar system in the classes. So I showed you the in-between of Jupiter and Saturn. And Earth's like that little speck right here, this little green speck right here, and Jupiter is like, hey, what's up? Like, Jupiter's like that. Saturn is like, hey, what's up? Like, this is how large in comparison these planets are, and why they're playing such a heavy role and such a heavy impact in this situation, right? So I'm gonna start breaking down the actual astrology of the week once more. If you want to know the full totality, because I can't explain everything in this live stream, I don't even have enough time, to be honest. But I have the Zoom classes that I do Monday and Wednesday. They're only $10 a piece, 6 p.m. PST, and I break down all the information of that. So be sure to check that out on Monday, the full moon and Cancer one. All my classes are on the website and for the end of the year. So check all of those out. I'll be also, like I said, talking about them throughout the week, but definitely recommend you do that. So let's get into the astrology of this week. Starting off with today, which is Saturday, right? Thank you all once more for being here and kicking it with me. I love doing these Astro Saturdays, so I really appreciate you all like being here, and let's get it going. When it comes to today, so I have to point out a couple things. Saturn went into Aquarius on the 16th, right? So Saturn is essentially the planet of restriction, the planet of control, also the planet of time, right? So with Saturn going into Aquarius, what essentially happens is that all the Saturn and Capricorn energy that was going on was essentially why we started to see large political structure fall. We started to see large structures and things that we thought were supposed to stand the last of time. Pretty much even like constitutions, like everything that's like along the lines of like big business, politics, everything in that regard. Saturn and Capricorn has been essentially tearing apart with Pluto. This is with Pluto and Jupiter. It's been like very much tearing the underneath and the foundations of what we thought was just supposed to be a certain way. So now that everything's kind of being flipped on its head and making a difference and changes, right? Saturn is now in this place where it's like, okay, now we're going to have to start figuring out how to change the structure on how people interact socially. The social interaction is going to be very prominent coming in. Also in online and internet communications, right? So there's definitely going to be a larger format as far as like figuring out how to make things go online. Just because of Saturn being here. There could be some certain like online restrictions and things that pop up because Saturn is a planet of restriction. But the reason why I want to mention this to begin with is because all of this Saturnian energy has shifted into Aquarius first. So it's kind of setting the tone as far as like, how are you going to stick up for yourself? A big thing when it comes to Saturn and Aquarius is that you need to be able to like be in your full and true authenticity behind all the things that you do and be kind of like more of a humanitarian in that regard as well. Someone said Saturn's rings are used as messages. It's like a CD. Facts. Like that's why Saturn has rings. I mean, that's a whole other topic. I'll break that down at some other point in another class. But that's pretty much how that ends up going, right? Terms and conditions read. I honestly, that's a huge theme as far as Saturn and Aquarius, because Saturn and Aquarius is one of those things where it's like, I definitely recommend people looking at stuff because things are changing. It's not going to be the same setup as maybe things before. Like, there's a huge thing that people need to look out for as far as like everything like that is concerned. What stones should be used for the Great Conjunction? I like dark stones and dark crystals because they end up grounding and such like that. So I definitely recommend like a jet or a black tourmaline, things along the lines of that. I just personally like those, but it's always about what you end up liking and what resonates with you that's most important. What day are we on? We are on literally today. We're talking about today. I'm going back a couple of days to show you why today's important. So you are right where you need to be. This is today. So today, Saturday, the 19th, for anyone who might be watching this replay, is going to be when Jupiter enters Aquarius. Right? So now Saturn and Jupiter are starting to meet. They're not at their perfect conjunction yet, but they're starting to meet. So this energy is starting from now into the next 2 days. Someone asked if they could charge crystals on the 21st. You can, but I definitely recommend you do it on the 28th instead, on the full moon in Cancer, because that's when all the eclipse energy is gone, all the cosmic event energy is gone, and then the full moon in Cancer is going to be what really pushes that forward. So feel free to use your crystals or like spray them or Palo Santo, whatever the case may be, to just cleanse them, but to charge them, I would wait until the full moon in Cancer, and I have a class on that as well, in case you wanted to know more about that, just to put you on the speed. But like I said, with Jupiter going into Aquarius, right? Jupiter is the planet of expansion. Jupiter is the planet of experience and pushing forward new adventure. So now with Saturn and Jupiter joining, right? Saturn is like restriction. Everything shuts down. No one talks about this. But Jupiter is like, hey, we're about to be out. We're about to go do this. So like with this Jupiter and Saturn kind of combination, it's a very, I try to explain it almost as if it's like a yin and yang to one another, right? Because on one end, this is a restriction going on, but on the other end, there's a new revolution in a sense going on. So it's like rebellion as well as like trying to keep and make a new order. And because of this is why it's so potent and critical on a great conjunction to really push out what magic that is in the world that you want to do, which I'll be breaking down shortly as I continue on with this week. So stay tuned, and this is why I like to break down the story of how the week kind of goes astrologically, right? So also today we have Venus making its trine over to Chiron. So Venus is in Sagittarius right now. Chiron is in Aries. And because of this, Venus, which I represent as the heart, is the cosmic heart that everyone holds, that everyone has, right? So when it comes to Venus is making its way to heal new aspects that it hasn't really touched on before. New aspects as far as its healing that has to do with personal. The aspect of this healing is more so like, what do you personally feel? What has personally like harmed you throughout life and such like that? And how is your heart going to transcend that hurt into making it your power? That's really what a lot of today is about while Jupiter goes into Aquarius. Because what Jupiter and Aquarius is trying to do is have you expand in those places. But you can't expand in those places until you accept the other faction and the other part of that type of energy. So that's why it's so critical as far as like today's concerned. Moving on until tomorrow. So this is going to be 12/20, right? Moving on into 12/20, we're going to be going into the Sun and Mercury making its conjunction at 28 degrees. So the Sun is about to leave Sagittarius. Shouts out to all my Sagittarius though. Sag season was amazing. I enjoyed my Sag season. So, shouts out to that. But when it comes to Sagittarius season, right? The Sun is going to be making its conjunction to Mercury. So the Sun and Mercury are joining together at the greatest peak of Sagittarius. And what this is pretty much doing is activating the true truth and the true philosophy behind everyone that you know. So it's kind of like one of those things where it's like after this, going into Cap season, you kind of know where everyone's intentions lie. You kind of know where everyone's like vibes are at. Everyone's kind of reflecting whatever it is that they have inside. Like that's pretty much that. And they're going to be speaking on it too. So if you feel like someone's being that way, like they're going to say something about it. They're going to explain to you like what they think, what they see, the vision that they have. Like that's going to be kind of explained and brought out. So you're going to know new pieces of different people in this process as well, and know who you relate to, who you don't relate to, who you want to spend time around, who you don't want to spend time around. And it's going to be pretty much honestly. Like no one's going to be hiding what it is that they think. People say what they think in this regard. And that's going to be going on for that time frame, right? Because on the same day, though, Mercury is ending itself off in Sagittarius. So Mercury in Sag was all about pushing forward your philosophy, your new ideas, your visions, this, that, and the third. But now shifting into Capricorn, which I'm a huge fan of. So having this shift into Capricorn, and now all of that like vision, all of that those dreams that you had, those, hey, we're going to chase this, is now starting to make itself concrete. So what I mean by this is that all these ideas that you may have had, all these little spitball ideas or brainstorms, or you're like, I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to do that. But because it's Mercury and Sagittarius, you've been too scattered to like sit down and do. You're like, I kind of want to do this and then I'll do that and then I'll do that. What Mercury and Capricorn is doing is being like, okay, sit down. Okay, get it done. You know what I'm saying? Like Mercury and Capricorn is just like, okay, now that you know what you want to do, how are we going to capitalize on this? How are we going to crystallize on this? How are we going to slow down the way that we say certain things in order for people to really understand the core blueprint of what we're trying to get at? Mercury and Capricorn does not play with just fluff. Mercury and Capricorn wants to know what's up. I have Mercury and Capricorn. I understand. Like, you know, Mercury and Capricorn just wants to know what's good. That you could talk about this, you could talk about your day, you could talk about the flower that you saw on the way there, but if it doesn't have relevance, Mercury and Capricorn is like, what does this mean? Like, what's going on? And the reason why I want to frame it that way is because this Mercury and Capricorn is starting and leading in to this great conjunction. So if you use this Mercury and Capricorn energy to take serious whatever it is that you want to bring in and manifest on the next day for the great conjunction, that is going to take you tenfold into that. If there's something that you're not 100% knowing and you're like willy-nilly on and you're like, I mean, I sort of would like to, it's not going to work. It's not going to work out the same way. Mercury and Capricorn is like, what you got to say, what you're trying to do, where this bond, make it happen. You know what I'm saying? So with that Mercury and Capricorn aspect, it's going to be very critical as far as speaking that truth and getting into that raw authority of yourself to say the things that you want, to bring in the things that you want, and then go for the things and not try to back up when you just, oh, is that going to work out? Oh, is this going to, like, that doesn't matter. Like, you really have to just kind of like push that forward, and that's what's going to be super important for this great conjunction coming in. So let's talk a little bit about the great conjunction now, right? This is not a great conjunction time. Appreciate you all for rocking with me, staying through, but I need to paint the story so you can see why all these things are so critical ending off 2020. So not only does the Mercury go into Capricorn, but Capricorn season starts on the same day as the great conjunction. And Capricorn season usually starts on the winter solstice. So let's get back into the winter solstice one more time. The winter solstice is, and I'll break this down in its entirety in our class, as well as why it works with the astrology and etc. So be sure that you check that out. Stay tuned. That's going to be a huge day. We're going to be talking about what you can do to manifest, suggest lighting a candle, getting all the spiritual goodies from House of Intuition in order for you to really feel in the full power. So if you're in LA, 100% check them out. If anything, grab whatever House of Intuition tools that you have, because you're going to need them for this day. But once more, this 12/21 day is so potent, critical, and powerful because it's like whatever it is that you want to make serious, not only for the next little bit. So usually for most events, it's like, oh, it's like 2 weeks. Oh, it's like a month. Oh, it's 3 months. Okay, that's cool. This is a shift that's literally going to change the next 20 years of your life. Doesn't matter like where you're at. It's going to change the next 20 years because all of these meetings that Jupiter and Saturn have had in earth signs are now shifting into strictly air signs. So beforehand, where all this expansion and restriction was happening in terms of money, let's say finances, let's say security, land, everything along the lines of that, what it's shifting into now, right, is communications, technology, the larger vision. How are we all going to be interconnected? How are we all going to be interacting? I personally don't see the internet connection as far as like work life and everything along the lines of that dying down anytime soon. We're going to become and bridge in a new age as far as the way that we communicate with technology, the way that we interact on a social level. These things are changing. Not to say that they're changing for the better or the worse, but they are making a shift. This is why it's so important for you to know your energy going into this great conjunction, so you can harness that as everything like that starts to happen around you and those themes start to pop up. How are you going to stay true to your energy, your vibe, and what you want to push forward? This great conjunction on this winter solstice, the most important day, and the winter solstice happens because it is quote unquote the rebirth of the sun, right? Which I'll break down in the class deeper. But the moral of the story is it's the darkest night of the year. But then after this darkest night of the year, everything going on and moving forward into the spring, the days start to come back. The sun starts to get reborn. The sun starts staying out for longer. The sun starts being there until the spring and the summertime, and the sun's at its full peak. But this winter solstice is what's representing that. On top of this great conjunction that's happening. So stay tuned. I'm going to be breaking it down. Please go to that class. It's going to be great. 6 p.m. PST on Monday. So that's what's really going on as far as that's concerned. And it's a huge major shift, and it's going to definitely make a big difference and a big change. And right after all of these eclipses that we just had a lunar eclipse, and then we had a solar eclipse, and then all that. And someone said the darkest comes before, and that's what the winter solstice is about. That's why it's such a potent day for any form of intention and stuff like that, because it's like the darkest night before the brightest days that start to come in. So especially, and I think that's a huge theme even for this year, because it has been a year that a lot of people have been essentially having to face their darker facets, having to face darker parts of themselves as well in the process, just because of the way that the format of this year has been. So I know that there's a lot of things that people have been transmuting, getting past, even certain old traumas and stuff. There's a huge time for a lot of healing in regards to that as well. So as far as all this healing and pushing things forward, this is what's coming in. What day is that? The day I'm talking about, the 21st right now. So this is Monday. I have the rest of the week to still go. But I do want to like kind of nail on the head why these are so important and what information is going on. This is also going to be on IGTV afterward. So if you are coming in then, just make sure you leave a like, leave a comment, show some love, just so we can keep the conversation rolling, etc. But yeah, is there a specific time PST that the shifts happens? Just consider all of the 21st. I don't know off the top of my head right now, but just consider all of the 21st that day. I think it was like earlier on in the morning though. I think it's like 7 or something, but don't quote me on that right now. I got the rest of the week to go through, but that's pretty much the way that vibe's going on. So then the next day, right, on Tuesday, it's pretty much just going to be like kind of like a roll on from this great conjunction energy. Like you're going to feel it. It's not going to be as strong as, let's say, the eclipses, because the eclipses have been very heavy for the last 2 weeks. So with the eclipses, High House Intuitions crystals, feel free to follow House of Intuition crystals as well. Follow them. They have their crystal live sales that you need to check out. So please go to those as well. Beautiful times, beautiful crystals. The adoptions are great. They're super cute. There's some pieces there. Like there's some definite like, oh word, like I've never seen those before. And I know crystals. I've been around crystals. There's some stuff that I've never even seen, and I'm like, that's super cool. So be sure that you check them out as well. House of Intuition Crystals. This is the IG that they have, and the crystal live sales that they do every Sunday. So check those out. But regardless, getting back into it. Heading into like this Tuesday, Wednesday space, right? So let's go to like Wednesday, because this great conjunction is still going to be making a shift, right? But going into this Wednesday space, we have the Mars making its square over to Pluto. So because the Mars is making a square over to Pluto, this is going to be a power struggle in yourself for your deeper transformation. That's the easiest way to put it. And for people that aren't accepting of your inner transformation and your deeper transformation, there might just be like not like a back and forth on some negativity type deal, but there's definitely going to be some type of friction. And the reason why this friction ends up happening is because you're transforming into this new set and this new space of yourself and your personal identity. And some people aren't going to be able to recognize that, unfortunately. And this is a day where you either have to bridge in and like get together with those people that really like know and honor your like true spirit, your warrior spirit, your spirituality, whatever the case may be as far as that's concerned. Be around people like that. They're going to help you transform and to bring in a new interaction as far as how you push forward the energy. But for those that don't know the energy, like they might just get into random little quarrels just for no reason that they could think of. So that's why it's kind of important for that day. My suggestion for that day is to just kind of buckle down and be sure that you are willing to accept this transformation in yourself, which is happening, because this is a true shift of self coming up on this Wednesday after all this great conjunction, after all these eclipses. This is like a real day of like changing the script when it comes to that. So that's super important and critical. So then on this upcoming Thursday, we have Mercury and Capricorn making a square over to Chiron. Once more, it's like, hey, my thoughts on my business, on what my legacy is going to be, on what I'm trying to create are all going forward. But with this Chiron aspect, it's like, but how am I going to address the things that may have hurt me in regard? Like, basically, it's like, how am I going to address the failures that have happened in the past, but address them in a way where I'm not sunken down by them, but instead it makes a motivation, right? This is what this day is kind of about. It's like, hey, you know, I've achieved this, I've achieved that. But like, hey, you know, I remember this thing that happened when I was in 8th grade and they said I couldn't do that. So this is like kind of the day where you have to like kind of push through all of the random, this didn't work. And then like be able to push it forward. So it's like, hey, you got to respect and know where you're coming from, and then you're going to be seeing where you're heading. And that's what's most important about that day. Appreciate the hearts and the love, by the way. I've been seeing them throughout. I need to keep going so I don't get distracted. But basically, that's pretty much the energy as far as like that is concerned coming up on this upcoming day. Much love to you all once more. But going over into Friday, which is the last critical day that we need to talk about. We're going into Mercury making its trine to Uranus and Lilith. So what Mercury is doing after this day where it's like you have to address this pain or address the things that you may have not shown up on 100% throughout your career, throughout the legacy you want to make, throughout whatever along the lines of that. What you have to do after this, right, is you have to embrace the new changes that end up coming to your mind. It's almost like because you've accepted and addressed the old stuff, now there's a brand new thing coming in to like move your mind towards what it is that you really want to do, what it is that you really want to bring in, what you really want to communicate about. And because of this, bridging all this information in, bridging all of this electric, beautiful, wild kind of energy, what this is doing is that this is making you almost activating the genius in your mind. It's almost activating this sense of like, hey, this is what I'm going to be pushing forward. This is what I'm going to be trying to like break down. This is what I'm going to try to be almost manifesting in a sense, where you just do these things, right? So Uranus is really just kind of into that. And then Mercury and Capricorn is you being like, it's time to build. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of like how that ends up working for that, right? Thank you so much for the appreciation, by the way, for you all. I've been seeing the hearts, been seeing the compliments and such like that. Thank you so much. If you want to see more of me like completely just going off, I have the charts up, I have information up, I have pictures up, all that, the whole nine, me just really going off, full set, everything. Please come through my classes. I have my classes Monday and Wednesday, especially. On Monday coming up, I have a class on the Great Conjunction where I tell you you're like what's going on with you. I break down the Great Conjunction. We always have a good time in my classes. I cannot stand boring teaching. I'm just going to be like doing that. I answer questions. We have a good time. It's always good. Like it's a great time. So on top of that, like I said, Monday and Wednesday. So I have a class on Wednesday as well. Feel free to check that out on the website. Then the next Monday after that, we have that full moon in Cancer coming in. So definitely check out the full moon in Cancer. Grab your full moon in Cancer candles. This is going to be the most potent full moon of this year. The full moon in Cancer is at its highest peak. So if you want to do anything full moon ever, full moon in Cancer, end of 2020, going into 2021. Not only that though, we have the 2021 candle. And what better way to tap into your New Year's resolution than with a candle to solidify it as you're literally bringing in the next part of your life, the next year coming in of your life. So, you know what to do. HouseIntuitionLA.com. Check it out. But outside of that, thank you so much. I appreciate the love on the energy. Much love to you all, for real. I really do. Really do appreciate that. But yeah. But anyway, so destiny has been shifting all month. It's not going to stop. It's not letting up anytime soon. But 2021 is going to be a brand new year with some brand new energies. And stay tuned every Saturday. Stay tuned for my Tarot Tuesday. Stay tuned for my classes Monday, Wednesday. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be around, and I'm going to break the information down to y'all. It's just about you showing up, letting everyone else know that you know, getting everybody onto it so everyone can be riding the waves for the energy and living their best life. So outside of that, that is my outro. Much love to you all. Have a great one. And until next time, peace out.